Let me comment on the free trade area of the Americas, the American Union, how all this goes together like a Lego set. For those who aren't aware of this, we're doing 2 hours on it tomorrow. You should tune in. But what everybody should be basically made aware of right now is this. Every major highway in the country, there's 85 interstate major highways, and 83, so they'd already announced I-35. 83 of them are openly already been ceded into the federal bureaucracy, who has always claimed ownership of them, not the American people, and the bureaucracy is now handing it over to a multinational organization, or the Security and Prosperity Partnership, and 1/3 of it will be manned by the Mexicans, 1/3 will be manned by the U.S., and 1/3 will be manned by Canadians, and they are going to mix it up, where one leg of it in Mexico will be U.S. run, one leg will be Canadian run, and one leg will be Mexican run in Mexico. And then one leg in the U.S. of each of these roads will be Mexican run, one leg will be Canadian run, and one leg will be U.S. run. And they will have, of course, delegates from each country in each group. This is all official. And to finish the roads in Mexico and Canada, the U.S. is going to put forward most of the money, like we always do for global projects, like the IMF and World Bank projects and Ex-Im Bank projects. And this is in not just in the SPP agreement. They want to have accompanying legislation, which is now introduced, which, it's like Bush enforces secret arrest, secret prison for American citizens. He never had a law. Now he's trying to pass a law right now, I guess retroactive to, say, see, I passed a law. So people say, well, that law in the Senate to build roads in Mexico and Canada, that hasn't passed. It doesn't matter. The Congress gives the money, whatever the Department of Transportation and the other 20-something agencies under Homeland Security that's running all of this. Chertoff is on the SPP board. There's 3 people from the U.S., 3 from Canada, 3 from Mexico. Do you understand that? This is where Congress hands over, cedes, permanently, deeds, criminally. It's total fraud. I mean, Congress can't deed, say, the Washington Monument to George Bush, though Bush claims he's above the law and is the law. I mean, I guess under their doctrine they could, but everybody would see that and say, no, that's illegal. Well, how do they cede our major highways to the country of Spain that owns Centra, it's government-financed, Centra toll road system? How do they do it? It's totally illegal. It's been in the news that they've bought off all the politicians, it's amazing. And they are being given almost there's 8,000 miles of roads plus. There's 7,000 in the whole country. And if you tuned in 6 months ago and heard me say there's 7,000 in the country and we're going to have 6,000, that was the old number. Now they've announced the state it's going to be 8,000. So more than the rest of the whole country combined. We're the big model state. So is California, Oregon, New York, New Jersey, Kansas, Oklahoma's going to have a bunch, Missouri, Florida. But Texas is really where it's going gangbusters, worse than anywhere else. And it isn't a joke. It's happening. And there are going to be port facilities. I looked at the government map, roughly every 75 miles, and they are going to have huge exit lanes, kind of like the way stations for trucks, but these things are going to be gigantic. And I looked at some of the designs of these and plans, and we're talking about 100 times the size of a rest area, with McDonald's and gas stations and stores, but half of it will be huge lanes with Customs Police, North American Union SPP police. And folks, again, you thought they'd have Mexican troops come down on parachutes and like Red Dawn, and it'd be Americans, at the sporting goods stores, like Red Dawn, get your shotguns, take some food, go to the hills, don't come back, you kids. It doesn't happen like that. It's, hey, the Mexicans are here helping us with our flood victims. They brought soup kitchens. Hey, Norwegian AWACS are here. Hey, we're doing urban warfare in your city. And this time, the Marines came last year. This time they've got Dutch and British troops with them. Hey, we're actually going to run a checkpoint to arrest drunk drivers, and it's on the news. Hey, they're helping. You're not for drunk drivers, are you? See, and it's, well, yeah, I mean, we're down in southern Mexico. It says in there, the U.S. will run the port facility where the Chinese goods come in southwestern Mexico. It's all official. And right north of Austin, they're scheduled to have a North American Union checkpoint. And then they're going to have another one just past Waco, and then another one just north of Dallas, and one up on the Oklahoma border, and then one up by Oklahoma City, and then the really big one, though, is going to be in Kansas City. Oh, it's going to be fun. And it can even be in the newspaper. See? Well, you're not against the Mexican people, are you? I mean, this is a highway we all fund, and their government's going to put in a little money, too. And it's for trade. You're not for it. I mean, come on. See, I mean, this is how sick it's gotten. By the way, I just told you about 2% of what I know about the American Union. And by the way, I don't know very much about it. I have sat up. I have gotten on the computer at 9 o'clock at night when we put the kids down for bed. My wife goes to bed because she gets up at like 6 when they get up. And I'll sit there at 2 a.m. and she'll come down for a glass of water and go, what are you doing? And I'm there with bloodshot eyes reading SPP, writing notes. And by the time I get here to the show, I'm so mad about it, and there's so much of it, that I'll just have, I guess, a few guests on to go over it, or I'll just blow up on air about it. I mean, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do anymore. I mean, at a certain point, let's say I told you about 2% of it. Isn't that so horrible that you never put up with it? Taxing you to build the Mexican-Canadian roads? Transponders in your car? And now the government's saying, oh, we don't care if you fight transponders and inspection stickers. We're just going to use your cell phones from point to point. But then the problem is not everybody's going to have cell phones. So that's why they really want the transponders. And we're going to give you tickets with those. And, well, you were going 85 and a 70 from point A to B. I mean, this is all being announced. And they've said everything that goes on in the airports will be on the streets of America. And just what they told us 4 years ago has now begun with the Viper teams, as they're called. What's next? Cobra Commander, out searching people on the side of the road and in shopping malls. And being yelled at and being screamed at. And you're going to pull into these things. It's going to be just like the airport. They're going to randomly pull you over. They're going to have your digit number. And I won't be able to go anywhere. You think the no-fly lists are bad with planes. It's going to be no-drive list. And you know what? It's going to happen. So people out there rolling your eyes 5 years from now when this is in place, and that's about how long it'll be, maybe even quicker, just remember. Oh, and enjoy the new tax, too, on the toll road.